Hi, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Louie, an assistant professor from Oakland University. I'll be presenting some research conducted in my lab by my graduate students. A fundamental skill in human-human social interactions is the ability to take a turn during a conversation. There are a range of issues that can arise when taking a turn, such as speaking over another person when you interrupt them, speaking too early or taking too long to speak, which can be perceived as rude or disrupt the flow of a conversation. Such turn-taking challenges arise when the context of interaction is really not taken into account or misinterpreted. For example, if someone suddenly treated a job interview as a debate, they may inappropriately interrupt the interviewer, trying to get their point across, not provide the interviewer enough time to complete their discussion points, and try to speak as soon as possible. Hence, it is necessary that social robots understand and follow context-dependent turn-taking behavior. There has been some recent research work focusing on training general turn-taking models on data sets within a specific context. These more general turn-taking models are more well-suited for unstructured, informal conversations and do not really scale to structured, task-dependent conversation. Furthermore, most of these models only consider vocal cues for predicting a conversational turn. This leads to several research gaps within human-robot interaction turn-taking literature. This includes a lack of approaches that enable robots to exhibit context-specific turn-taking behavior, and a lack of approaches that count for gestures and predicting the appropriate time to take a turn within a human-robot interaction. This leads to our research, which aims to address these gaps by developing a learning from demonstration system, which learns context-dependent turn-taking behavior from human demonstrations after it has been deployed. We aim to do this with a limited number of demonstrations to make it practical to use, because hours of training data really reduce the usability and usefulness of the approach. We also extended the existing literature to investigate the efficacy of using multimodal cues for predicting conversational turns. These cues included verbal, prosodic, and gestural cues. The overall system architecture is depicted here in this slide. First, a set of human interaction demonstrations are collected within a specific context. A turn-taking model is then trained on the collected data set. We can then deploy the learned model on a robot so it can exhibit context-dependent turn-taking behavior within a human-robot interaction within the same context it was trained on. We utilized an interview context to evaluate our approach. In this case, we had the model learn the turn-taking behavior of a single interviewer while interacting with 5 different interviewee participants. There were a total, again, of 5 participants, 3 male and 2 female, ranging in age from 21 to 24. And the entire data set really consisted of 28 minutes and 7 seconds of interview demonstrations with a total of 150 conversational turns. The data collection is depicted in this slide. Interviewers and interviewees had a lapel mic to gather the raw audio of their voices. A Microsoft Connect faced both the interviewer and interviewee for gathering their poses during the interview. The primary features we used to train the model included verbal information. This feature was extracted by inputting the raw audio into an automatic speech recognition package. The resultant text was then provided to the Churn GPT model, which provided a score of whether a current utterance was an end of turn or not. We also used prosodic features within the model. This included voice activity, pitch, energy, and spectral flux features. Lastly, we included gestural features. This was accomplished by using the 3-dimensional positions of 5 joints, including the head, elbows, and hands. We obtained a reduced form of these positions by applying principal component analysis to reduce those 15 features to 5 features. With these inputs, basically, we trained a LSTM RNN model with 1 LSTM layer and 15 hidden neurons per an LSTM cell. The output of this LSTM model is the probability that the interviewer should take a turn in the next 3 seconds. A probability is actually given to each discrete 50 milliseconds in the 3-second interval. We then accumulate these probabilities within a specific time window within the 3-second interval to actually make the discrete decision of whether to take a turn or not. To evaluate our approach, we first conducted an ablation test of all the input features. We presented in this table on the slide is the mean absolute error, indicating how close we were to matching the interviewer's decision to make a turn. We can see overall the verbal and prosodic cues performed best over all the turn-taking prediction lengths. Reviewing the F1 scores on the left, we see that the optimal accumulation window size is the 10 previous frames. Fixing the accumulation window size to 10 in the middle graph, we can see that the results remain consistent over the probability thresholds between 0.2 and 0.7. In general, there were really minor differences between the models, either that used either the verbal or prosodic cues, but models that used the gestural cues didn't perform so well, likely due to overfitting of the high-dimensional features. The precision and recall is also plotted on the right using the same value of accumulation window size of 10. We can see the verbal and prosodic model skews toward optimizing precision, while the simpler models such as silence sacrifice precision for recall. Looking at the two graphs in this slide, we can actually see on that the model performs fairly well when the interviewee does not produce filler sounds. However, when filler sounds are used by an interviewee, such as uhs and ums, the model produces many false positives. Upon further inspection, this is because both our automatic speech recognition and voice activity detection systems couldn't actually detect these filler sounds and instead labeled them as silences. And that's because detection of filler sounds remains an open challenge in research, and addressing this would likely improve our overall system response. In conclusion, we present an approach, specifically learning from demonstration for context-specific turn-taking behaviors. We evaluate a variety of turn-taking features and found prosodic and verbal cues to be the most effective when working with limited demonstration data. In our future work, we actually plan to explore the use of this system in different contexts and evaluate the learned models in real-world human-robot interactions within healthcare. I would like to thank the National Science Foundation for supporting this work and the Oakland University Applied Behavior Analysis Clinic for collaborating with us on much of the work that we have done. Thank you so much for listening to this talk.